I do want to get into, so we talked about a lot of the interventions, breathing, motivation, things that are actually changing how your brain functions. I'm kind of curious, so I briefly mentioned to you before we started recording, like transcranial magnetic stimulation, right? There's all of these other treatments that are also coming to light based off of research and evidence. This isn't my area of expertise, full disclosure, so you can fill in any of the gaps that I might not be explaining right. But how much of this is like what practices you do that kind of changes how your brain functions? Or is there another approach, I guess, or angle to look at this where they're looking at treating your brain in some way with some type of magnetic stimulation, direct current stimulation? How does that, I guess, going the other route, how does that affect how you actually perform or your mood, how you see the world, how you tolerate things, right? Can you explain a little bit about that just to give our listeners kind of the full gamut of like, oh yeah, there are other things, but how is this different? Yeah.
How to understand the brain's role in well-being and performance.
Yes.
If you had open brain surgery and they start stimulating certain parts of your brain, you could potentially have a wildly different experience than you are right now. You could start hysterically laughing. You could have this really emotional experience. They could stimulate a different part of your brain, and it could prevent your ability to even speak. Like your brain is really one of the major hubs of the human experience that you have. And when you stimulate it, either through brain training or even exercise changes your brain. If you stimulate your brain, you're going to change your human experience. And the transcranial magnetic stimulation and the direct current stimulation, all these different technologies are affecting the brain. So they will have some sort of impact on your experience. So I think if you want to look at it from bird's eye view,
yes,
they're all modalities of impacting the brain. And like we just said, the brain is kind of the throughway from which your human experience comes from. So exercise is a way to affect your body and brain. Focused calm is a way of affecting your brain. Transcranial magnetic stimulation is a way of affecting your brain. Medication is a way of affecting your brain, right? If you take drugs or you take medications, it's going to affect your brain, and all those things change your experience. I think the thing that's important to me is, what are the things that fit who you are? I don't need a $100,000 transcranial magnetic stimulation device. I need a focused calm that costs a few $100 for me to get the benefit that I'm looking for. Some other people, maybe they need to go to the hospital and get transcranial magnetic stimulation. So I think one aspect to think about is like, what do I need in the moment to get the impact that I want? And then the other really important thing is, what is going to be sustainable? Do I want to be taking Adderall every single day before I study for my test or before I go to work out? Or, do I want to be doing whatever other practice? Is it a sustainable practice, or do I want to be training the skill of focus, training the skill of meditation and relaxation through something like focus calm or other modalities? Do I want to be training something that's going to give me a intrinsic or inherent skill that I can take with me that's maybe a bit more sustainable? So 30,000 foot view is, all these inputs are changing the brain, changing your experience. Find the one that fits your goals. And also, I would recommend finding one that's sustainable, that can take you further long-term, that maybe doesn't have any detrimental effects.
Yes. No, that's an excellent explanation, because, a lot of, even for myself, but the general consumer, we don't have this bird's eye view of understanding how all of these things are going to affect the brain and how it's going to impact or, help you in some type of mental well-being, right? But looking at that makes sense. Looking at what kinds of things will fit you. And I think it's definitely sustainable because you'll make it into something part of your routine, right? And it doesn't take, you don't have to go to a physical location. You don't have to, have all of these hurdles to jump through. It's literally just putting the band on and going on your phone and doing some of the daily training that is just like anything else that you do, right? It's kind of like normal hygiene, right? You're going to do your hygiene in the morning. This is part of like your hygiene for your mental health. So I like how you explained that.